Everyone is born into a matrix of patterns. That's the mother's womb. And what she is and what she represents as part of her continuum. The mother is the daughter of her parents, the children of their parents, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about the continuum of blood karma, which is a pattern, and also it becomes a view. A lot of people worship all of that, feel that that is God. That's like the most important thing. No, enlightenment is. Being free of all of the suffering of the blood is more important to the soul. Yeah. The ego is another level. It's a whole other thing, and it might like darkness, it might like, the self might like and need the patterns of suffering for its growth, for its inevitable awakening beyond suffering and patterns and unhappiness and darkness, confusion and self-division and hatred. See? Those patterns sometimes wear out. See? Sometimes it's, I remember when I was young, related to the Vietnam War, disaster, right? And I had a lot of friends that went over and had their experiences on the battlefield. And they went over gung-ho, they were going to save the world and all the rest of that, right? They get in the battlefield and they see a baby and they awaken. Say, well, we created this. What did it do? What's going on here? Why? See? And they have a moment of true inquiry. Self-inquiry. Why? Who's creating this? Why create this? I'm not saying it's good or bad, but they come to terms directly with their pattern, say, of doing and being and living in that circumstance, which could be a catalyst to radical and spiritual awakening. Could happen there. Doesn't have to be that dramatic a scene. But why not that? People are waking up in all manner of predicaments and crises that are given to wake you up, shock you, say, snap you out of your humdrum sort of self-meditation. So the patterns can wear out themselves. Sometimes they're disturbed, disrupted by way of mishaps, accidents, and turnabouts, and upheaval, and so on, emotionally, psychically, and physically created by, let's say, the family's time pattern. So a lot of what happens to people is part of the blood pattern. Even if you're far removed, some people are adopted because they don't have you're still that family karma, and you're going to experience things according to its assumption of what life is and what conclusions are and what patterns are and what views are. All of that is built in. So you can't escape it till you wake up beyond it. And so the potential then is that we can create other views, other patterns, other ways to experience the emotional plane, and other ways to, let's say, manage memories, which are sometimes very painful, very tragic, and impossible to escape, suppress, avoid, hide, deny, neglect, and so on. Defeat. Human nature. So the enlightened practitioners give you and everyone an option where all of that disappears. Because we are born of the disappearance of that, the non-existence of that originally. Very interesting. Say, we are not that. Say, originally, primordially, we are none of that. Horror of human nonsense, destruction, defeat, warfare, conflict, suffering. Not a trace of it. The spirit means none of it. When people speak of the spirit, they often say, oh, This spirit is going to take care of our army. Go for it. Say nothing is going to take care of their army is what they're saying. They must be talking about some other things. They might be talking about some kind of lower force that is in the astral plane. An invisible but powerful entity or something is going to take care of it. Well, fine. That's not what I'm calling spirit. What we're talking about is the difference between a karmic spirit of the astral plane, as conceived or as experienced by certain people, as a result of their own psychic sensitivity or interest in such phenomena. And then we're talking about the transcendent spirit, the formless one, the emptiness, enlightenment. Mm-hmm. So to make the transition from all the darkness of the blood to this place that we're talking about requires, for the most part, shock into it or practice opening to it and becoming what that is as part of your original primordial identity as pure spirit soul nature.